Okay, we'll call this meeting to order. Let the record show that all board members are present except for Ms. Mathis. She is joining us by phone, and our board attorney is joining us by phone along with our superintendent who's present. And we ask if you would to stand for prayer and pledge with Mr. Travis Coker.
Let's pray together. Lord God, thank you for this day. We thank you for the wonderful blessings you've given our nation and our state and our community. We ask your blessings on what happens here tonight, that as our leadership meets to make decisions, that they will have great wisdom and discernment, and that we will glorify you in all that we do in our schools. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Amen. All right, let's pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This brings us down to the adoption of the agenda, and we have several things that we need to make note of before we adopt it. We need to pull item 4.06, number 1 and number 2. Also pull 8.01, number 3. Also, we need to add a presentation from the health department. Okay, any other discussion or everybody got that? Ms. Carlton makes the motion.
Second.
All right, Ms. Donnell seconds it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? So carried. The approval of our minutes on August the 10th, school board meeting and executive session. All right, Ms. Agner makes that motion.
Second.
Ms. Carlton seconds it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? So carried. We have the acknowledgement of donations. Superintendent Glover, would you like to say something concerning that? It's a presentation from Winn-Dixie, I believe.
Yes, sir. Was it last week, this week? It's all running together, but Winn-Dixie had a grand opening, and we were really thrilled and excited when they called and invited us to be part of the grand opening. And so while we were there, they presented our schools with $1,000 check. So we were very thankful for that and appreciate what Winn-Dixie did for the district.
Okay, yeah, thanking Winn-Dixie for the donation. Thank you. Brings us down to the items of interest by the public. If we have anyone here that would like to has an interest or concern you'd like to address the board, this would be the moment and time that you might do that. Anyone?
Miss Paul. Angela.
Yes.
Hey, we had a letter sent in, so is it okay for me to read that? Or does that person need to be here in person?
Yeah. This is a public comment section?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yes, that's fine.
Okay. I just had this letter, Brother Danny. Sarah Green said, members of Taylor County School Board, I'm writing to contribute public comment in advance of the school board meeting scheduled for August 24th. Particularly, it was announced today that a third grader at Canopy Oaks in Tallahassee had died from COVID. The mother confirmed this on live announcement by Rocky Hanna regarding his change to zero opt-out of mask policy. I'm a mother of a child with type 1 diabetes in Taylor County school system. At the start of this year, I let have my son return to the classroom after spending the last year in virtual options and finding out that the only virtual option would be enrolling in Florida virtual school, which may impact participation in extracurricular activities. Although his grades and FSA scores remain intact last year, he really needed to come back to school. He is much happier and excels the most when he has social outlets, and everyone needs that. I sent him back with the hope that since he was eligible for and received the vaccine, he would be protected. Fortunately, my 12-year-old stepdaughter is not vaccinated and this week contracted COVID-19 along with multiple others at the middle school. I've been in constant communication since the start of this pandemic with local medical, public health professionals, and since my stepdaughter's diagnosis was informed, we won't see the peak of the current surge in cases until September. New data emerge every single day, and the most recent trends have me and many other parents very concerned about the direction this is heading, particularly as it relates to the level of vaccine hesitancy and anti-mask rhetoric that has significantly impacted efforts and progress toward ending this public health crisis and further places children like mine and younger who are ineligible for the vaccine at unparalleled risk. The vaccine for which we base every other approach to healthcare supports vaccine has also shown that masks are an effective risk reduction strategy. There is a huge portion of our school-age children who are not yet eligible to receive the vaccine, whether the parent chooses to or not. These decisions are truly in the notion of good faith associated with individual liberties. Why are those parents who would choose the vaccine for the children for their child but unable to because of age eligibility given less freedom of choice to children exposed? For example, my son was in kindergarten. There was a child in his class with a peanut allergy. I remember getting multiple letters home as a reminder to never send food items that could potentially harm one of my son's classmates. I do not recall this being a major issue for other parents, nor do I recall other parents getting bent out of shape about not having the freedom to send their children to school with a PPJ if they wanted to. So why now, with all the evidence to support mask usage and vaccine effectiveness, why are people so angry that their child is wearing a mask in an environment where social distancing may not always be possible and children may be exposed to a disease that could send them to the hospital or worse? Is it not all our duty as a community to protect one another, especially the most vulnerable among us? I'm not originally from Perry, having moved here in 2016. The transition was not without a few hiccups here and there, but overall, my son and I were welcome into this community and had nothing but positive experiences with nearly everyone we have interacted with, even during the period of political and social adversity we have seen the last few years. It is the small communities of this country that have always been able to be counted on and look for their neighbors. Places like Perry, where everyone knows everyone, has come together in other times of need. During Hurricane Hermine, it was other people in Perry who opened their home to myself, my husband, and my children so that we would have a place to sleep and a refrigerator to store my son's insulin. My son had severe diabetic episodes, and an ambulance had to be called. Neighbors drove to our house to check on us, make sure everything was okay. I've had teachers spend hours with me during virtual learning last year to make sure both my kids could be successful, and the entire Taylor County School District has treated both my kids with utmost care and concern for as long as I can remember. These are hallmarks of small communities like ours. We take care of each other. I realize in this pandemic, the level of care and concern has been significantly clouded by opposing viewpoints, not to mention riddled with fear, anxiety, and dishonest. The fault for these things lies in powers far beyond our small town, but we are impacted nonetheless. Regardless of these unprecedented social times, it is equally important for our school district to also be aware of the legal implications associated with ensuring the safety of our students. I've previously expressed the concerns of the State Board of Education, the Florida House of Representatives. I'm now addressing them to the school board. And she goes on to quote Section 504 about FATE. Section 504 and association protections ensure that children with qualifying disabilities are provided with a choice of reasonable accommodations to participate either through remote, virtual learning, or wearing a mask as their own preventative measure in the classroom. Regardless of the intent of these accommodations, there is something inherently problematic with these options, and they imply that the ones of protective measures is that of the student living with disability and assumes that the environment which they are in is either not responsible for or not required to accommodate their unique health and safety needs to ensure equitable participation in the same setting afforded to their non-disabled peers. In this respect, it could be argued that instituting masks as a requirement for all students would mitigate significant health risks for students with disability while still allowing equitable participation in typical school environments rather than placing the onus of protection solely on the student or restricting them to virtually only learning to avoid severe health outcomes. It is equally troublesome that the options provided to the student living with disability results in their exclusion from participation in classroom settings, either through isolating levels of distancing or remote learning, being singled out as one of the very few children who's wearing a mask for health and safety reasons. Such it would behoove the board to consider whether the approach of determining what's reasonable accommodation should be and whether those accommodations in their current form and limitations constitute discrimination against students with disabilities in or of themselves. We understand the recent state level decision have attempted to cripple community level decision making. We must remember that our children, we must look after ensuring that teachers receive vaccine or wear a mask in setting where they deal directly with our children is a great place to start and would avoid repercussions associated with mandating masks for students. Although if I had a choice in the matter, I would mandate them for everyone in public environments in the spirit of taking care of others and ending this nightmare. As a parent of a child with qualifying disabilities, I'm no stranger to having to be fierce advocate for his rights and protections afforded him through 504. As a citizen of Taylor County, I want to empower each of you to please consider the impact that a lack of decisive action may have on our vulnerable children and community as a whole. If it ever took a village, it is now. So I call on each of you to remember the board, consider the impact of your decision and only on people and families vote for the short term. Thank you, Sarah and Randy.
Noted. Any comment? Okay. Do we have any others that would like to, items of interest that present to the board? If not, then we'll move on. We have added to the agenda this evening a presentation from our health department. So who's
And Danny, you want to mention that they come up here?
sorry.
I said you want to mention that they need to come up here to the podium.
Yes, please, please.
We just thought it'd be good just to get a brief update and let you know what will be starting tomorrow, when this be.
So good evening. I'm Tanya Hobby, and I am the interim health officer here in Taylor and in McCullough County. We were asked to come tonight to kind of give you a brief update. I have given each one of y'all a little short packet of how we're moving forward this year. As you know, we're all COVID crazy. I stole that from a friend of mine. He says he tells everybody that ask him, how are you doing? I'm COVID crazy. We are moving at fast pace. Things are changing before we get a good grasp of what's the recent change. But I have provided y'all with the quarantine tree that we have come up. We've worked really good with Christy and Dr. Glover to come up with this tree to move forward for this school year. And then I provided you with a new flyer for our testing, which started yesterday. That has been a hard thing to come by. Everybody has been full with testing. Today we started testing at 7 a.m. and we'll be testing till 7 p.m. every day this week. At the health department, they are offering PCR testing and they're also offering the the rapid test. But those are only for symptomatic people, the rapid test that we have at the health department. So I'm gonna we do have B starting tomorrow, and she is going to be our lead for the COVID team. Y'all know Kate. She is wonderful. She's at the school health and is over school health coordination. And we are looking forward for B to get 2 more people that's coming on board. Right now, we have some contracted staff that's going to be helping her with the school and COVID. So, Kate, did you want to say anything? I wanted to see if y'all had any questions for us as we're moving forward.
I had asked Dr. Glover to give us some information about B and how she was going to be, what's her protocol, I guess, for the testing, and so I'd like to hear that.
So as it stands right now, we brought B on with the intent for her to test the district staff, those who are symptomatic. We have the option to do the rapid test, like she mentioned, or the PCR. With the new addition of the bus, the testing bus, we're gonna see how all that plays and determine where B's strengths will be most utilized, whether it be to continue testing or whether it be to solely work on contact tracing, within the schools. But her main focus is going to be contact tracing within the schools. It will be nice to have someone completely dedicated to that and that alone. She has a state phone and has given that information out to, or will give that information out to the point of contacts with all the schools. And so her focus will be solely the schools. It'll be nice to have that off of some of the contact tracers backs who've been doing everything within the community. They've seriously done a wonderful job because not only are they contact tracing, they're administering your vaccines. They're also working with the testing. So having B and some of the additional staff on board will help take the burden off of some of their backs.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
You mentioned bus. So when you said bus, is this a bus that's going to be traveling throughout our schools
No, ma'am,
or
I'm
traveling
sorry.
throughout the community?
I'm sorry. It's the testing bus that's at the
Okay.
health department.
All right.
7 days a week. That's the plan,
Okay.
and 12 hours a day.
Okay, so it just be in a central location.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Where the testing is taking place currently at the health
right.
department.
Okay. And with the time frame, since Ms. B will be focusing on the contact tracing efforts as far as the school, is there a particular time frame that parents can expect to be contacted?
As soon as possible. A lot of
Okay.
that depends on where they're tested and
Mhm.
when we get the test results.
Okay,
One of the things that we want to point out is that we are not able to, as far as the health department, we're not able to accept at-home tests. And the reason for that is because they're not administered by a trained healthcare professional. I mean, I'm sure that some parents could very well test their parents, but for validity of the test results, they really need to be administered by a healthcare professional, testing facility, that sort of thing, where there is adequate documentation. So as far as hearing from B, it all depends on the caseload that she has. I mean, our goal is to get back to parents as soon as possible in regards to their positive test.
well, that was my concern far as how soon, because I know, because it is contact tracing, it can take, some time. But I just know some parents, because they have different concerns with everything that's going on with COVID-19, I just wanted to make sure what could they kind of anticipate or expect in regards to far and hearing from someone.
Absolutely. Now, depending on where a student's tested, it takes different times to get the test results back to us.
Mhm.
So any delays, I feel like, have been a result of the length of time that it takes to get the test results back to us.
Okay, all right.
How long does it take for you to get the PCR test back?
It varies. It depends on where they're tested, and it depends on the caseload.
I'm talking about the testing that you're doing at the health department.
I can tell you an example. We tested somebody last Thursday, and as of yesterday, we did not have the test results. So it just depends on how backed up the lab is. Probably an average, it takes probably about 3 days.
I have also heard results as far as near as 24 to 48 hours. So it varies, and unfortunately, a lot of that is out of our hands. Previously, before the testing bus, we had a courier service that we were using to get the test results to the testing facility sooner. And I know that did cut down on the turnaround time. But I mean, everywhere in the world is testing more now. So that impacts things greatly.
So now, is this testing where, like, say someone comes in and get a rapid test, or the other option, which is, I guess, a 48 option, is that still given a window far as the response time? Or was Bunny question is, how soon are y'all getting the test from where people are being tested?
I was asking for the health department.
Right,
So the rapid test you would get right away.
right,
But those are for symptomatic people only.
okay,
There's only a select few, and we have a list of those
okay,
that that you can use for symptomatic people. I can tell you CVS does have the limit that actually
now, is there a reason
not
why
symptomatic.
the rapid is only being offered for symptomatic people?
It's only valid. It's only recommended. The one that we have at the health department is
Okay.
only recommended for symptomatic people. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
So now, say if a student goes and get tested at the pediatrician office and they are receiving that rapid test, I know the pediatrician is giving guidance, but there still is guidance is that they receive guidance from the health department. So I guess that's why I'm asking about it's only that you guys are only testing people that are symptomatic.
No, we're testing.
I'm saying with the
asymptomatic-
rapid.
With the rapid.
Mhm.
We will test you, but the validity of the test is only like 40%.
Okay.
So it would be better if you done a PCR test.
Okay.
That would give you more of a right.
Right. So if they do the other tests, and it says 48 hours, there's still a chance that it might take longer for results to come back.
They do which test?
The PCR.
The PCR.
Yes.
Yeah.
It could.
It could take, okay, all right. So you guys are sending it to a lab.
Yes.
So
Okay.
you're testing anybody that drives up, you're not asking the questions, have you been exposed? Do you have any symptoms?
I'm honestly not, I haven't been involved in the testing process, so unfortunately, I'm not 100% sure.
Because they ask the questions, have you been exposed? Do you have symptoms for over 72 hours? And if that's not the case, the CDC guidelines says they won't test you. So I'm just curious.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I've been testing since Thursday, half of Taylor County.
Uh-huh,
And basically, you do need to pre-register
yes.
because there is paperwork that we follow, and that includes your date of birth, your address, which we need to contact you with a valid phone number. So those paperworks are filled out prior to the bus that got here yesterday at the front desk at the health department. Then we follow through with that. We did have some drive-ups, and when it's a minimum amount of people, we could do that prior to yesterday. We could add you in the system and print your label and put it on the test. Starting yesterday, we have the partnership of an agency that's doing the testing for all of us. So they are taking up on themselves to get all the information for the patient.
So you do not have to make an appointment for them to
Right.
come up there. You can just drive up.
But will you be turned away if you don't have 72?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am.
That's
You
the
will not
question.
be turned away.
You're
Okay.
testing basically.
So if
anybody.
I have no symptoms, I just want to know whether I have it or not, I'll just pull up there.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So I'm familiar with, I know NOMI Health is a vendor that has been offering testing. So will the process be kind of the same as that, where you go online and you register, you get an appointment time, and in the process of you registering, like Bonnie said, it will ask you those questions. And as Ms. B said, you provide certain information. It gives you appointment time, and then you come and you get tested. Is it similar to that, or is it where you just show up and you have to go from there with scheduling an appointment time?
You don't have to schedule anything. You just show up.
Okay, all right.
Now, there is, because today we have had a lot of people in line, so there is a little bit of a wait.
Okay,
But you do not have to have an appointment. You just show up and we will test you right there. They will take your information.
okay. Uh-huh.
If you don't know, we're really excited. Miss B was at the high school and she left us, and we were extremely disappointed when she left us. But then she missed us, couldn't live without us, and she came right back. So we're excited to have Miss B join us. She did an excellent job at the high school. I know she'll do a great job with us here. And again, I want to brag on the health department. Miss Tanya, anytime I call her, she answers. Martine, we'd have a couple of meetings. Kate's been on videos with us. Anytime we need Kate, she's been right there. So I appreciate, I know we met with Miss B yesterday. So again, I appreciate the communication that we have with the health department. Thank you all.
I have one more question. You mentioned that Ms. B will be doing the contact tracing, and she will be making the calls, or will it still go back to the site administrators to make?
So once she gets trained, she will be making the calls. The process of how we're going to do it from here forward is that we will contact the positive person, and then the contacts will receive a letter stating you need to quarantine until this date.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
Very much.
You said it right, COVID.
but they could already be in quarantine,
Yes,
what I
ma'am.
was fixing to say, as they, yes, okay. Okay.
We are.
Yeah, we thought we were over the hump too.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank y'all. Thank you.
Danny, would it be okay to go ahead and let Mr. Coker go? They were going to go. during
Yes.
the agenda, but if we can let them go ahead now.
Sure.
Good evening. I'm here tonight on behalf of my organization. It's called North Florida Medical Centers. We're a federally qualified health center. That is a federal grantee that is in the primary care business. We've got 10 locations in 10 counties. I'm very excited that in my hometown, we're fixing to have the nicest building in town. And we're going to be doing medical and dental there. And tonight, I'm going to have Miss Betty Cable come. We were able to meet with Superintendent, some of his staff a couple of weeks ago, and we've already got you an MOU. Come on up, Betty, about we're planning on serving the kids in the school since the health department had lost their dental operations. But Betty, you tell them what we're going to do here.
Great. Okay. Good evening. It's great to be here. I am the Director for Dental Outreach for North Florida Medical Centers. And I'd also like to recognize I'm a dental hygienist, and my two colleagues, Ms. Karen and Denise, they're in Quincy. I'm in Okaloosa County. So we are covering a big, huge portion of the state for dental outreach. And we are thrilled and hope we can provide services for Taylor County. I'm in Taylor, right? I was just in Quincy earlier in Gadsden, so I apologize. And I was in Okaloosa earlier this morning. So just a little bit about what we do. We have 10 medical centers. We have 3 of those that have dental centers associated with it. And then we have 2 dental outreach counties, Okaloosa County and Gadsden County. And we're hoping to expand into Taylor. So we're starting our 10th year in Okaloosa County, and even during all the COVID crazy, we were able to start in Quincy and Gadsden County. So we expanded dental outreach there, and we're going to do it hopefully here in Taylor County. But what we do is we provide preventive services, dental outreach services from K through 5th grade, pre-K through 5th. Any child that completes a medical history form and a consent form, services are free. It's fluoride, sealants, cleanings, if necessary, a special fluoride varnish that actually stops decay that we started doing a few years ago, case management, referrals. So it's basically a free service for the children that just turn in their consent form, pre-K through 5th grade. And we use portable equipment, so we'll set up at the school. And we're pretty much independent. We don't depend on bringing in volunteers or need additional help from the staff, so we can pretty much do it. But we'll be the 3 dental hygienists that will be providing the services. So I will answer any questions that you may have, but we look forward to providing the services for your students.
Is there a local dentist in you guys' location? Okay.
Yes. Mhm.
Yeah, that's another thing is that it's what we seek to do is be a medical home for all members of the family, and we know that we're going to expect, since the health department had ended operations, people are getting about 2 to 12 new patients just for them every day. I really need about 5 dentists.
Yeah.
Something besides the gym. But what these ladies do is really impressive. They have a complete self-contained unit. We can do all the services that we can do as far as a hygienist in there. If you get parents' signatures on it, we'll see everyone.
Now, you mentioned pre-K through 5th grade. So what about middle and high school students? Will you guys be able to serve them or no?
Currently, we're focused on the younger children because getting the sealants on and this new fluoride that we do, it's a silver diamine fluoride that actually arrests the decay. We're finding that it's less invasive than putting a bunch of fillings in or sedating children. So we're just that early intervention, and if we can. Each one of our schools have to be approved as a site, so we can't expand to all the schools. So that's why we really have to focus on the primary schools. But
If we can get the sealants on the first, second graders, that's the biggest thing. That protects them for years. That really does take care of a lot.
Well, I was just wondering, because you mentioned free, but I know you guys do like a sliding fee scale or whatever, but since you mentioned free, that was not a concern. But I am concerned as far as we have kids that have siblings. So I know you guys will be able to service our students, but like you say, you're focusing on a certain population. But I know at the health department, they was covering.
You see everybody that comes in the door.
Okay,
regardless of their ability to pay. Anybody that's Medicaid,
okay. Well, that's great to hear that y'all are gonna be here. Yeah,
we have sliding fee based on household income for all dental.
right.
And that is for the dental center, the brick and mortar, so the medical and dental center. And the great thing about that is, once you complete paperwork for slide fee, it covers you for all your services. So you're
Right.
not having to do something for medical and dental. You had that medical and dental home all in one location. And that is our goal, is that once we're seeing these children, is that we get them into that dental home.
Right.
We see children, we come twice a year, so we'll do them in the fall and then again in the spring. Some of them may not need services both times a year, but, our goal is really to focus on quality and not quantity. We really want to make sure that we're seeing that child. And like I said, we're starting our 10th year in Okaloosa County. And some of these children we've seen kindergarten through 5th grade twice a year. So they have had that really intense care. And then we follow up. So if there's children that haven't received, additional services, then we really work to make sure that they're in that dental home. So we're kind of their advocate as well in that voice, because we know it's hard to navigate the whole Medicaid system or, getting an appointment. So we
Yeah.
really work, as that extra advocate to help them.
Looking
ahead.
forward to that, because that sounds like it's very much preventive, like you say, on up, even for the high schoolers. I mean, as they go through K through 5.
When do you foresee actually physically starting?
Well, first step is, once you approve the MOU, and then we are moving forward. As I said, all the schools have to be approved through as one of our scopes or one of our sites through, since we're a federally qualified agency, we have to be approved so that for liability and stuff that we're able to provide services care. So once
I will be on that one as quick as possible. We can assign the MOU that goes to Rockville, Maryland, and HRSA. We'll work on getting, because what has to happen is every school location is a quote location that we're doing. So,
And it could be, when we added our schools in Gadsden, it only took 3 or 4 weeks. So it just depends on what HRSA is doing. And, but we do have a history of, what we've done. So they recognize that this isn't the first time that we're adding schools. We have 4 schools in Okaloosa, 3 in Gadsden, and then we want to add 3 here in Taylor. So the plan is, because I'm always thinking ahead and planning, that it will be approved this fall. So we've already kind of worked it in our schedule that we would hope to get here before the Christmas break. Even if it's to come in and do assessments and fluorides and really, getting the forms out to get things going.
So let me ask you this question, Mr. Coker, because you guys have always been here in Taylor County. Y'all been here for a number of years, and you guys have been providing dental services. The only difference now is you're serving a K-5 pre-K-5 population in the schools. Okay, so say we do have a high school or middle school student, and their family come to you on their own to your center. There's an opportunity for services there.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, all
Absolutely,
right,
yes.
okay, so y'all are not changing what y'all normally done, now you're just partnering with the
That's
school
why
to
we're building a
service
bigger
pre-K-5. Okay, all right, I get it now.
One dentist to 2 dentists.
Okay, yeah, y'all always have served, yeah.
So we're actually expanding our services. We're reaching more kids. Instead of them having come into the center, we'll actually be able to come to the schools and provide, preventive services and the SDF, which is, like I said, it's it's better than the drill and fill, but so we're actually providing more services for the kids.
Right,
And I'll tell you, if you have a child, if you know of someone that's in the high schools or the middle schools that needs additional care, that they're having dental issues, we'll be that advocate to help get them into the center. So like I said, it's just, sometimes the parent just needs a little bit of help.
right.
So we'll work to,
Yeah.
or if they want to come, well, we can discuss some other options, but that will be it.
Let's go get the weeds.
Yeah.
Yes.
Keep it simple.
I was gonna ask that question, was it kind of like how when we was in school, how they come get you and do the little fluoride? I don't know if y'all remember
Yeah.
that, but I remember that. But
Yeah,
that's how they did in our schools, but then they will refer you when I was in school. So I was wondering but I'm glad you pointed that
It'll
out.
be a lot less, I had,
Mhm.
at school side, just the transition time.
Right. Yeah.
Help a lot.
Yeah.
We have portable equipment that, and we tell the kids, we look like Inspector Gadget. All you should remember Inspector Gadget, that, you open a suitcase up and it turns into this big, because it's a compressor, dental chair, light. You look like,
That's neat. Y'all could probably do a career day and now the kids will start wanting to be hygienists.
yeah, we do. We would love to. Yeah.
Yeah.
And another thing we do too, you talked about career day, but we really focus on education. So when we hand out the consent forms, is that we really, include oral health, total health. It's not us just handing out the
Right.
forms, and we really, focus on, us as what we do as dental hygienists, because
Right.
teachers will say, "Oh, the dentist are here," or someone will say, "We don't like dentists." I said, "Well, good thing, because I'm not a dentist, so you'll be glad to see me." But, we really, want individuals to know that it is a
Yeah.
career path. We are licensed and we're, college graduates. So we do take that opportunity to share about that and about the oral health and total health.
Okay,
Good.
all right, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
I think that's
you
going to
so
be a
much.
great partnership.
Look back, I appreciate, I was going to say Coach and Travis, but, unfortunately, the health department closed their dental.
Yeah.
office, and within, I think it was like 2 days or 3 days. Mr. Coker reached out to me and we were to set this meeting up because we want to continue what we've been doing. So really excited what we're going to be able to do in
To
schools.
share that story because Travis had come over to Quincy to finally see our setup over there. And he told me, he said, "I hear the health department." I said, "Let's get on it." And we
Yeah.
went within. So these ladies right here, they're actually from Quincy, so they went to school there. I'm in Okaloosa County. I went to Okaloosa County School. Travis is from Taylor. So we really like that it's grassroots. You're giving back to our communities.
Yeah.
And, I love when I go to Quincy or even to Travis, everyone knows,
Yeah.
so we
Yeah.
love being able to give back.
Thank y'all very much.
That is
Yeah.
awesome. Thank y'all so much.
That's very nice because
Yeah.
Dr. Woods built a great
Something
program
positive.
there, and she even recruited one of y'all old hygienists. So she's dental assistant. She recruited a dental assistant, and she's been there all this time. But
Yeah.
I know that our students have been very dependent on that program over there. So it's great to know that they're not gonna, miss a beat in services. It's good to know that y'all have. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Mr.
your new building is where? Where's your new building?
They building right there next to ViStar, right?
Oh, is that your building?
That's them. Yeah.
Mr. Lundy, could we go ahead and just skip and take action on that number 3?
Right, okay.
Because
we
I know
can-
they
we
got a
can do
long
that.
drive.
We had pulled 8.01, number 3, in recognition of your report tonight. So have an action item on that. So
I'll make a motion.
I make a motion that we approve that.
I second.
Okay, Ms. Agner seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Just do you take 70-year-old?
We get that question a lot.
Okay, all right. So we did went ahead and take action on it. So we know, like I said, we know y'all have a long drive.
Thank y'all.
Thank you
We
for
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Mr.
Thank y'all
Coker,
very much.
Safe
Can I ask
travels.
one more question? Do y'all know how long it'll be for y'all be in y'all new building? Or y'all don't? Oh, okay. All right.
Well, that's not far at all.
And y'all just keep growing. Y'all don't, this y'all third building in Taylor County, right? Well, y'all first personal building, but your third location. Yeah, that's good. Uh-oh.
Oh, watch,
Okay, we'll move on as now all of our consent items, except for those who had been pulled or those that had been pulled, have been approved by the adoption of the agenda. And we did pull item 4.06, number 1 and number 2. So we'll go to number 1.
Okay, I'll make a motion. I just have a comment, but I'll make a motion to approve to start
Okay,
with.
item number 1, Ms. Agner, you makes the second on that, okay?
The only thing I was going to mention is, I did, look at some of the P card entries and, was getting some data on them and I just ran out of time. But I just wanted to comment that, when we approve the P card, we're proving it after the fact. It's already paid, so it's like we don't have a whole lot of input, but I still wanted to look at some of them, and I'm going to look at them, but I did want to mention
I had
that.
several questions also, and Ashley was home with Cash today, so she had Lisa to answer my questions, email me with them.
Yeah.
So, and I told her, I said, no rush, it's there, but
Yeah.
I wanted some clarifications.
So that was kind of my comment on that.
Okay. So motion's been made and second that we approve the financial report for the month of June 2021. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? And then item number 2 is the financial report for the month of July 2021.
Motion, same comment.
Ms. Carlton makes the motion on that. You second it, Ms. Agner. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? So carried. So this brings us down to item 12.05, and it is the appointment of administrative personnel. Item number 1 is the appointment of Edward Whidden as truancy officer, 8 hours, 12 months, effective August the 16th through June the 20th or 30th of 22.
Make a motion.
Ms. Agner, you make that motion.
Second.
Ms. Carlton seconds it. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? So carried. Item number 2 is the appointment of Brandy Barber as truancy officer, 8 hours, 12 months, effective August 17th, 21 through June the 30th of 22.
Motion.
Ms. Carlton makes that motion.
Second.
Ms. Agner seconds it. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
So carried. Item 12.17 is termination of employment, position 0041522211. Termination effective August the 25th of 21.
Motion.
Ms. Agner, you make that motion. Ms. Carlton, you second. Any discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? So carried. Item 15.02 is a public hearing. This also is an action item. Public hearing on the student progression plan for 2021 and 2022 school year. This is a public hearing. Do we have anyone? If not, do we entertain a motion? All right, Ms. Carlton makes the motion. Ms. Agner seconds it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? So carried. This brings us down to the items of interest by the superintendent and board, and Superintendent Glover.
Yes, sir. Just a couple of things. One, I know you'd be interested in enrollment, kind of where we're starting to, shake out and clear things up. Right now, it looks like we're positive 47 kids. So that's good. Now, we forecasted for a few more kids than that, students. So we will have to look at that adjustment. But the one thing that we've got to work on some scheduling and we'll clean up is our head count is up, but FTE looks to be a little bit down. So we're going to have to look at some schedules and clean some things up. Sometimes seniors are a little later before they get reported in with their schedules for different reasons at the high school. But overall, butts and seats, we're up 47 students right now.
So our total is?
The total right now is 2819, and that includes now that does include pre-K at Steenhatchee and our Perry pre-K. So
And technically, they don't count.
Yes and no, it depends how they're classified. We do get some funding for those for VPK or if they receive services, and some are self-pay.
Right.
So, it varies with the student. So,
And we're discussing enrollment right now, right?
yes.
Okay. You said positive, and that's a risky word right now. So I just want to make sure the public know we're discussing enrollment increase.
Yes.
We're not positive on anything else.
No. So we'll move into that with our numbers and all. But before I say that, I just want to say a big. I mean, the staff has been amazing the last couple of weeks. I will say, the numbers kind of snuck up on us a little quicker than what we had anticipated, but it's easy to sit back, and I know, to sometimes think you could do things different or point fingers or whatever, but my staff, we've got several people that's pulling 12 and 14-hour days right now. They're doing everything they can to keep up with calling. Sometimes there is a lag, and it's not the health department necessarily fault. There can be a lag in information getting to the health department, and we're going ahead and taking the lead and trying to call those parents. I've been very appreciative of the parents. I've talked to numerous parents who have reached out to myself, reached out to the principals, and a large majority has been so supportive of what we're doing. There's some that's had some input on how we can do things different, and some of them's been some really good ideas. Then sometimes we have to explain, why we can't do that. I've been very proud. Ms. Anderson's been a huge help about trying to be as transparent as possible. Our goal was to post our numbers. We didn't get them out quite as quick as we had hoped, but I mean, we have looked around at other counties, and I think we're the only county right now that's actually posting our numbers, so parents can track those daily. And Christy's doing that. Safety is under her, so she's hit the ground rolling, trying to do everything she can to get the information out. But just right now, I mean, our staff really, I mean, you go right now and look, and our parking lots are half full with teachers still working at 7:30. I mean, some of us were here almost to 9 o'clock last night. We still had staff at our schools working. So, I know some people want to be negative towards them. Now is not the time to be negative. Now is the time to pull together and really work together, because our staff needs to know that we are behind them. We're going to be behind them to push through that. I really appreciate Dr. Emmerich taking the time that he spent with us last night. I mean, we have received lots of comments on that. Mr. Plow posted it, and I guess it hadn't even been 24 hours yet, and we already had 1,800 views of those videos. So, Christy, is there anything I'm forgetting to add?
Like I said, like I say, like Casey, all these principals, they're working night and day trying to call these parents. And like you said, we should all appreciate them.
Y'all got anything to add that I can think of? And really, I mean, the principals they're being locked down to their offices doing nothing but calling parents. Between calling parents and parents, communicating with us with input. I know I talked to the primary school. I know she's getting a lot of communication through Dojo. A lot of our parents have the principal's personal cell phone numbers, so they're calling. I think elementary said they have about 95, 98% of the calls they get. They are returning those calls within 30 minutes to an hour as quick as they can. So, like I say, we're really trying. We're doing everything we possibly can right now. I mean, I know there's areas to improve, and we'll look back, but like I said, we're all pretty tired and beat down, but we're going to keep pushing on for our kids. So as much as possible, please encourage our staff, encourage these administrators. Like I said, we still got a ways to go, but we're going to get through it by working together. So just thank everybody's help, because it's definitely taken.
Did I not understand that we are going to get some help to follow up contact tracing and so forth? It's going to give some relief to our.
He will be with us full time to help with contact tracing. I'm sure the principals are still going to have to help with that, because sometimes we're finding out, like say, Board Health Department, that somebody's exposed or somebody. So we're wanting to call those parents, and we try to get those kids out of the school as quickly as possible. So, everybody's calling as many as they can, as quick as they can. Just to update, yesterday, last night we talked about we were like 9%, and this is positive and we're quarantined. Today we did go up to 11% that were either positive or they were in quarantine. So I'm hoping, Dr. Emmerich said within a week and a half, we should start seeing this going the other way. But that's where we're at right now, is at 11% for.
Okay.
For today.
All right.
I'm going to ask Casey, I think, but are we seeing some of the earlier quarantines now going ahead and coming back in?
Yes, but what's happening now is some of the ones that are quarantined are becoming positive, so that's why my numbers are.
Oh, okay.
However, it's happening. I had to make 3 phone calls before I come over here, where our parents are sending their kids to school while they're waiting for a test result. And then I got a phone call saying that the child was positive. So now I had to re-quarantine 3 more students today. And parents were very supportive and understanding, but that's hard phone call to make when the kid come back today.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Thank you.
Please don't send them if you're waiting for test results.
I think that's,
Okay.
And I do, we need condolences to the Moon family. That's going to be a hole in the primary school. And so continue to pray for their family, and also the primary school, because those teachers, when they teach in, those areas, they get really close. And so watching the pain when they heard what had happened with her passing is really tough when you're close and you see that. So continue to pray for them. Supposed to start football Friday night. I don't know if we've been able to find a game yet. North Florida's team they were all on a charter bus to South Carolina or something, and they all so the whole team's quarantined. So right now we don't have a football game Friday night unless they've scheduled one the last couple hours. So volleyball started. I know the band's been wide open.
Supposed to have a volleyball game Friday.
I know middle school started volleyball, and I think high school played last night.
I think the high school had 2 volleyball games this week, from what Heather Memo said.
It's the normal crazy stuff at the beginning of the year, and then plus you put COVID on top of it. So,
Okay.
Did you want to thank Sheriff Paget? They know about the canine dog.
yeah, I don't know if you've
Oh,
seen
I
that.
saw
Yeah.
that video. I loved it. I loved it.
Yes, thank you very much.
He will be in the middle school and high school, and that was a dog like that is very expensive, and so the sheriff did that for us, and then he's also donated 2 cars for the truancy officers to be
Talked to
able.
him the other night about that.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Ms. Donnell.
Yes, I just wanted to thank Winn-Dixie for that donation. Every little bit helps, and any support that we receive from the community, and especially in the forms of partnership, that is always something to be very grateful and thankful for. I do want to thank Tanya and the health department, as well as Mr. Coker, for coming here tonight. I know I reached out to Tanya directly myself, and I've had several phone conversations with her in regards to the health department and just what they're doing, and ensuring that as we present that we're working with the health department, that is exactly what we're doing. She expressed some concerns in regards to what they're dealing with at the health department. And I know some people are familiar and some people may not, but over the years, the health department has really changed in a lot of services that they offer. And all of that has really came down to funding. So I know the community looks to the health department as the hub when it comes to health, but a lot of stuff that they've been known for over the years, that has changed. And it has impact their staff. It has impact, how many employees they have and what they once did and what they're now not able to do, or things different that they're doing. And so being that it has impacted the health department, they are short-staffed. Throughout the state of Florida, it's short-staffed. And so the health department was already kind of dealing with being short-staffed, and then boom, COVID-19 happens, but they're the state lead agency. So they are the ones in charge with mitigation, besides emergency management and just, other health providers. So they do have a lot. They've had a lot going on. But again, because they are the ones that has been, basically responsible for contact tracing, they've had to take on a huge responsibility, but they're still dealing with a shortage in employees. So I'm very thankful to hear that we do have the testing that is open up. I'm prayerful that will offer, some ease in our community, because these last 2 weeks, it has been hard to go anywhere to get tested. I think it's very great that people are going to get tested, and that we now making sure that we have an available opportunity daily. Because what Casey said, that really is hard. To be told to go home, and then you think you're okay, and then come to find out you're positive. So I don't think nobody want to have to deal with that, but to have to be the one to make that phone call, that's a lot. So I do want to thank the health departments for making sure that they're working closely with us and just being a helping hand and doing whatever they can to make sure that we're not just stating effective mitigation, but we are demonstrating effective mitigation. I want to thank again Mr. Cochran for coming. I was very sad to hear that we lost those services locally, but it is great to hear that we have not lost a dedicated partnership with dental services in our schools. And I think it will offer just more opportunity in our schools for our students and career options. I don't think people know that dental hygienist is a valuable occupation, and it's a very flexible if you're a family person, because it offers you all type of flexibility. So anytime that we have services in our community and we're able to partner, I just think that's great that we have those lines of communication opens and we afford those opportunities to our schools. I do want to thank the administrators for all their hard work. Nothing, like Bunny always says, nothing promotes success other than success. But I do feel like we have to be ahead in making sure that we're making sure that we take an initiative. And I know that we are, so I don't want that to sound like that we're not. But anytime anything gets out in the community and regarding our schools, we're not going to be able to combat everything. But to make sure that we're keeping our parents informed and we're easing their minds with anything we're doing, because guidance is changing daily. I know I talked to Tanya several times in the last week, and guidance is changing daily coming up from the top. But it takes some time to get to the local level. So any times that we're able to keep our parents informed on what we're doing and how we're doing it, I love to see the videos that you are putting out and every update that you are giving to the community, because that is combating what is being said when we're able to put information out and they can hear from us directly what we're doing in our schools. And Ms. Green reached out to all of us tonight, and she really wanted to be here, but because of her situation, she couldn't. But I did email her and let her know that you read her letter, and she has sent a response thanking us for taking the time to read her letter, because it was a long letter. So she appreciate reading that letter, so you guys will see that. But she just wanted to make sure that she can voice some concerns on behalf of her son. I have been praying for Miss Moon family, and I have been praying for all those other families. Both of my babies had Miss Moon, and Miss Moon was a valuable asset to this school. So my kids, they don't still even believe it. I've tried to tell them, but they just was like, Miss Moon was young, and they just remember her and how she taught them. So Aiden and Avery did not even want to receive that news. So I just continue prayers for their family, continue prayers for all those other families in our community that has been impacted by COVID or just anything else going on. We've had a lot in our community. So just continue prayers for everyone and just making sure that we can do what we can. And like Danny said, it's great that the kids are having their activities coming back up. And I pray we get a football game. But it's just good to see that our schools are open and that we're still, are setting examples in how we're handling, making sure that our kids are receiving education and we're working with our communities, because I think that still stands out for the state of Florida. We have led the efforts in making sure that our kids are not missing too much when it comes to education. We still are setting that example for the rest of the state and how we're handling things. And I think that's something we do need to be proud of. So thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Agner.
Well, definitely want to thank Winn-Dixie. Like Deidre said, the community is working together is great. And because of that, we have, I think the health department was here tonight. And then we had Travis, thank him. And Eddie, the dog. I think that's the coolest thing ever. That's been needed for a long time. And thank you, Wayne, for that. It's nice to live in a community where everybody works together. But the video with Dr. Emmerich last night, I encourage you, if you haven't, it's long, but if you haven't listened to it all the way to the end, please do so. I would like to thank our superintendent. At this time when a lot of people want to live on emotion, he is seeking the facts. He is seeking the best thing to do. And that is leadership. And that is what we need, and we need that more than anything. And I love what Dr. Emmerich said about he is concerned just as much about the mental thing that this is doing to our children as much as the physical. And as teachers and parents and community people, we need to make sure that we portray to our children, this is not your fault. You're not going to kill somebody if you take your mask off. You know, these things go through little kids' minds and they really get upset. So I was really glad. We just need to continue to calm them down and make this is just a sickness, and it's going to get weaker and weaker, and it's going to get better and better. But I just thank you, Danny, for doing that, because, you know, we could, you know, I'm not taking anything away from Leon County, that his fears are his fears, but we can't live on emotions right now. We can't live on feelings. It's real hard when we think about the Moon family. And, you know, I was friends with them all growing up, and it's just hard when you lose someone. And we want to react. We want to fix it. We want to make it go away. And unfortunately, we can't. But we can do what we can do. And if you have not watched Dr. Emmerich's video, please do so. And I would love to have a ball game Friday night. I texted, so hopefully we'll hear something. I don't know.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you.
That's without these.
Oh, I know. And yeah, I'm sorry. I focused too much on you. That was on my brain, but
Just ask them. They'll tell you. Don't worry.
yeah. But the thing is, he couldn't do any of it without y'all. But the main thing is everybody working together, and we are praying for you every day. We are, you know, we really, our heart hurts. And I know all of our hearts are hurting. If we can just hold on,
Okay.
it's going to get better.
All right, Miss Carlton.
Okay, I got several, and most of them are repetitive, but I do send my condolences out to the Moon family and to Perry Primary School. I know that it's going to be it's a sad time going through right now. Do appreciate the donation from Winn-Dixie. That's, you know, as mentioned, you know, all of us appreciate it. I have talked a little bit to Danny about COVID information, and I think communication is our key, and I do appreciate the videos, but I also appreciate the other communication. I appreciate the updates. I mean, every day I'm sitting, because I'm waiting on these numbers to start going down, you know, and I know it's, you know, we may have a few more days, but sooner or later they'll start trending down, and I'm looking forward to that. The lot next door is looking just awesome. We got more and more building, but that is a nice looking lot out there right now. So we've got to get to work on that. Yes, doing a very good job. I think we probably have to put back up some fence once we get that other building out of there, but it's loaded up, ready to go. I know. I also wanted to just mention on behalf of our Florida School Board's Insurance Trust, our administrator that actually administers the policies and all sold their business, and thought they were going to sell us, but we worked out a way that we fired them, or not necessarily fired them, but we terminated the contract for a breach of contract, and we're able to negotiate and come up with a pretty good deal that's going to save us a substantial money over the next 5 years. But we did that in 10 days, kind of did it in a hurry, but it's really going to turn out real well for us. I also asked the superintendent if he could to get us a presentation monthly, I guess, on the CARES money that we've been spending. Just keep us updated so we can just stay on top of it. I get asked all the time out in public, how are you spending your money and different things like that. So I think it would just be good for him to get that for us. I do want to thank Sheriff Paget. I do appreciate his dedication and contribution to helping with education. Thank Mr. Coker and the health department. And I mentioned about football, but couldn't we just play ourselves if nothing else? I mean, you have let them play the middle school. Middle school wants to play, don't they? But anyway, I mean, we do something. But I do want to thank all the staff. I know everybody is going through every day, showing up to work and just dealing with what we have to deal with. And this is not the normal. This is not our new normal now. We just got to get past that. So I do appreciate it. That's all.
All right, is Ms. Mathis?
Jeannie, do you have anything to say?
Just thank you, Brenda. Just that I appreciate the people coming before us tonight. And I am going to have to go back and watch it on YouTube because I couldn't hear during all the parts of it. But definitely prayers for Miss Moon's family and for our school. And just want to remind everybody to be safe and for the next 2 weeks. And we'll see each other soon.
Okay, thank you. And certainly, all that's been said, I concur with, and just want to continue to encourage everyone to do all that they can do, work together, and be as safe as possible. And we'll get through this, and don't get discouraged. I see a lot of discouragement from time to time with the many hats that I wear, but everything's unpredictable. It's uncertain. But take it one day at a time, one step at a time, and we'll get through this. And but I appreciate all the work that's going on right now and the unseen things that are going on that we don't even and are not aware of. But thank all of our employees and administrators and everybody for the hard work, and hope the very best. Our hearts go out to those ones who've lost their loved ones, for those who are tonight still in critical condition, for those who are at home sick in the bed with this virus. It's real, but let's just continue to pray for one another, lift one another up, and be safe as possible.
I think, Ms. Paul, do we need a quick executive session? Angela?
Yes, but I'm having such difficulty hearing. I don't know how productive it can be. But yeah, we do need just a brief one if we could.
Okay, so we need an executive session. So we'll entertain the motion for adjournment.
Motion.
All right, Ms. Carlton makes the motion. Ms. Agner seconds. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And this meeting's adjourned, and we'll take just about 3 or 4 minutes, and we will go into executive session.
Jeannie, you want to just hold on?
Hey, Dan, I want to ask you something.